Hello Mech Warriors and welcome back to the Mech Lab. Today we'll be going over some of the best clan tanks in the game. We'll be cutting the production year off at 3062, so these are all units that you could potentially use to invade the Inner Sphere. And first on our list is the Zorya light tank, coming in at a cheap 575 battle value with decent armor all around, 4/6 tracked movement, meaning that it's not going to lose its mobility very easily, and two fantastic weapons, an LB5X autocannon and an LRM-10, both of which can be used at pretty good ranges, as well as being very effective at close range, with plenty of ammo for both, and finally an ECM suite to jam out your enemy's Artemis and protect you from being detected by enemy Beagle probes. There's another version of the Zorya light tank, but we would never take that one because this is slightly better armored, while not really sacrificing anything at all. Overall, the Zorya light tank is a decent little support unit for a very cheap battle value price. Next up, we have the Badger Tracked Transport. This is an Omni vehicle and is just an overall excellent transport. We have 6/9 tracked movement, 20 armor on the front and 18 on the sides and turret, with 14 on the rear, meaning that you can still take a couple of shots to the rear without going internal. I think my favorite out of all of these is probably the Tracked Transport A. It just has a ludicrous amount of very close range firepower, 3 ER small lasers, and remember, these are clan lasers, meaning they deal 5 damage each, backed up by 6 machine guns. All of these can carry 5 tons of troops, and if you're unaware, clan infantry is actually very tough, taking half damage from all attacks due to their excellent armor. So while lore-wise, clans don't usually use a lot of infantry and transports, tactically, on the tabletop, they are extremely powerful. The Badger C has incredible close-range firepower and is under 500 battle value. Now, the E is cheaper at 474, but a single ATM-3, I mean, it's not bad damage. You can do up to 9 damage if you're using high explosive ammo, and you probably want to be getting close with that ER small laser anyways, but it doesn't have the same close-up deadly punch that the Badger A does, and it doesn't have the versatility that some of the other variants do, such as my other favorite variant, the C, an LRM-10 for long-range fire, and since it's a clan LRM-10, you can still fire it in that range 7 very effectively. Alongside that ER medium laser, you can fire it up close. This is decent damage at long range and pretty good at close. Then we've got the medium pulse laser variant, the second most expensive here, the B configuration, but a medium pulse laser is always a deadly threat, and a Streak SRM-2 is a decent little crit-seeking weapon. The Prime brings an ER medium laser instead of the medium pulse and upgrades that streak to a 4, but this is more expensive and overall is going to be less consistently damaging than the B variant. A single streak SRM-6 is an interesting weapon. I don't think that it's particularly good overall. At 506 battle value, I would probably rather just have the ATMs instead. There is one variant that I haven't included here, and that is the H variant, which carries a targeting computer and a heavy medium laser. That variant is not very good in my opinion, but all of these units are quite battle value efficient, capable of carrying some great clan infantry into battle, and can mount battle armor on the outside because it's an Omni vehicle, which is pretty excellent. Scaling up a little bit in battle value at 670, we've got the Methus light tank. Again, 6/9 tracked movement, a little bit less armor than the Badger, but more firepower. We have 2 ER medium lasers. This is pretty much the equivalent of carrying 2 large lasers for an Inner Sphere tank, which is pretty insane, and an Ultra AC-2 in the turret. I would prefer to see this a little bit up armored instead of carrying a crappy weapon like a UAC-2, maybe just a standard autocannon 5 or something instead, or better yet, an LBX cannon to kill flyers. But it's a decent little tank for what it is. Speaking of decent little tanks, we have the Asshur artillery spotter. A tag, 2 ER medium lasers, and a streak 6 make this a very effective close to mid-range fighter. Doesn't have that much armor, but hover tanks tend to lose their mobility pretty quickly anyways, so 13 on the front and 11 on the sides is decently alright. Mainly you're going to take this because it has decent firepower and great mobility with 914 hover movement. It is rather expensive. This tends to be the problem with clan vehicles, and you'll see that as the review goes on, that these things are expensive. They start getting into mech price territory and not really being necessarily worth it. This is pretty expensive for a tank that can be killed by 3 medium lasers. However, if we're talking about battle value efficiency, let's look at the Thor artillery vehicle. We have Thumper artillery front mounted and 2 ER medium lasers in a turret with great armor, 25 or better on every facing, over 30 on the front and turret, which is great. 5/8 wheeled movement means it's going to get immobilized at some point, but as long as you're facing it towards the enemy, you should be able to keep bombarding them with that Thumper. And at only 827 battle value, this is super solid. Good long range punch, able to defend itself at close range, and even medium range with that 10 medium range on the ER medium lasers, and plentiful armor on every facing means that this tank is not going to go down easy. Speaking of tanks that are a great deal for their battle value, let's look at the Kokou defense tank. Now, the XL version upgrades it to 3/5 movement. This inflates the battle value pretty significantly, alongside increasing the armor. The extra TMM that you get from 3/5 movement increases that defensive battle value a lot. Nearly 1500 battle value. It's pretty expensive for what you get, but very well defended. 45 armor on the front and turret, 30 on the sides, 22 on the rear, still going to be pretty hard to take down. And we have an LRM-10 and 3 large pulse lasers. This is a disgusting tank. Don't bring this if you want to make friends at the local game shop. If you bring a couple of Kokou defense tanks to your local game night, you are going to make everyone angry, because the original Kokou is capable of bringing the same firepower at 300 battle value less and is barely even less defended. It is very slow, but with range 14 on all of your weapons, medium range, you don't really need to go very fast. You just need to drive into a forest somewhere and lay down suppressive fire. If you want large pulse laser spam, the Kokou is probably the most cost-efficient way to do it. The hover transport answer to the Badger is the Bandit, and this is also an Omni vehicle, so it can carry battle armor on the outside, which is great, and this is very reasonably costed. Now, it's not nearly as cheap, but this vehicle has 914 hover movement, meaning that it can maintain 4 TMM pretty consistently, and has 40 armor on the front and sides, 32 on the turret, and 20 on the rear. This is an extremely hard vehicle to kill. Even if you immobilize it, it's still able to tank a lot of shots. And all of the variants here are pretty good. We have an ER large laser and 2 SRM2s on the A, so great long range firepower, and then a little bit of crit seeking up close. A single LRM-20 with 18 shots on the Bandit B means that enemies certainly can't ignore it. It can engage at every single range. The Bandit C is an incredible medium pulse boat. Triple medium pulse lasers in a turret means that this unit is going to absolutely shred enemies at ranges 8 or 4. 2 ER mediums and an LB2X autocannon. I'd probably take cluster in the LB2X just for the bonus to hit and the chance at an extra hit. Mainly you want this tank just for the ER medium lasers. The E variant is surprisingly deadly. With 3 tons of ammo, it can engage at all ranges very effectively and can deal a whopping 27 damage with 1 volley from this deadly ATM-9 when using high explosive ammo. So getting in close, hitting with a big damage from the ATM-9, and then dropping off a bunch of armored clan infantry next to you, that's going to be a pretty deadly threat. And it's only 1063 battle value, so it's the most affordable of the bandits, meaning that you can afford to increase the gunnery more, and it has the highest potential damage output of any of these. The Prime variant is solid in its own right, carrying 2 Streak SRM-6s, that is a 24 damage volley potentially, plenty of ammo for both launchers. And finally the H, carrying a heavy medium laser and a medium pulse laser tied to a targeting computer. So this is an extremely accurate medium pulse laser, and this heavy medium laser is very deadly, hitting as hard as an inner sphere PPC. Backed up by the ability to crit seek with the Streak SRM-4, the Bandit H is pretty expensive at 1209 battle value, but is absolutely devastating. Another deadly clan hover tank, the Epona, is more focused on firepower than survivability, carrying deadly arsenals of weaponry, but significantly lowering the armor. The Epona is almost the exact opposite of the Bandit, sacrificing armor and troop carrying ability to bring massive arsenals of weapons on a very fast frame. This does inflate the battle value very much, and this unit is not nearly as survivable. If it gets immobilized, it's probably going to get blown up in one turn, unlike the Bandit, which might be able to tank it on its very beefy armor slabs. But we have devastating volleys from these things. We've got an Ultra AC-10 and 2 Streak 4s on the most affordable version, the Pursuit Tank B. The Prime carries 4 medium pulse lasers and a Streak 4. Really good, extremely accurate hole punching, backed up by a little bit of crit seeking, all at range 4. The Prime will absolutely shred enemies at close range. The C jumps up in the battle value cost, bringing an ERPPC and a Streak 6 to the game, along with an ECM suite to allow it to keep itself safe from enemy Artemis, which is great because getting hit by multiple missiles means multiple chances that you get immobilized. With one big long-range weapon and a pretty hefty punch from that Streak SRM-6, the C is good at every range and can bring in artillery with the tag. Finally, we have by far the most expensive and most deadly. At 2,000 battle value, the A variant is probably not worth it in my opinion. You can get some pretty good mechs for that cost, but 2 LRM-20s and 2 ER medium lasers is pretty disgusting. This will devastate enemy units. Now, I heard you all saying that tag for clans, I mean, they don't use indirect fire. Why would they ever want to bring a tag? It's Desgra behavior to guide in missile fire using a tag, but I'm not the clan science cast member that made a support tank with 2 Arrow 4s. The Huey, I refuse to try and pronounce this word, is a 2-3 tracked vehicle with pretty thin armor, but its goal is to stay out of enemy line of sight and fire off Arrow 4s at them. We have 4 tons of Arrow 4 ammo, not the most that I've seen. 10 rounds of fire total is maybe a little bit light, but if needed, this tank can defend itself up close. We have 2 medium pulse lasers and an Ultra AC-5, alongside some very close range weapons, an ER small laser, and 2 side-mounted machine guns. So no matter which side you're attacking from, the Huey is able to discourage enemy units from closing. And it has an ECM suite installed, allowing it to stay off of enemy sensors. So if you're looking for the ultimate middle finger to give those Desgra spheroids who love their artillery, bring the Huey and make them suffer. Are you looking for a flexible sniper tank to use at long range that can still defend itself up close? Let me introduce you to the Aries medium tank. With 5/8 tracked movement, it's very difficult to immobilize, and can maintain 3 TMM while running away, or 2 TMM while backing away, so that it can use its 2 front-mounted LRM launchers, carrying a total of 25 Artemis-guided LRMs directly into the enemy's face. Backed up by an ER large laser and a turret, this unit is able to lay down some serious firepower at long range for a reasonable 1150 battle value, while carrying some decent armor as well. 17 on the sides and turret, and 19 on the front means that this tank does not go down easy. However, the LRM-15 is a little light on ammo. Carrying only 8 shots means that it's going to run dry pretty quick. But don't worry, if you want something that is less snipey and more brawly, we have the Oro heavy tank. With 24 armor on the front and 21 on the sides, this thing is significantly tougher than the Aries, and for good reason. It is designed to get in close and devastate people with an LB-X20 autocannon. Carrying a large pulse laser and ER medium laser as support for this massive weapon, this 4/6 tracked vehicle can lay down long and mid-range fire before closing in with that LB-20 and blowing people to pieces. And if you were looking for even more LB-20 chaos, we have the Clan Demolisher, with massive slabs of armor, 40 on the sides, 48 on the front, and 30 on the turret. This unit can take an absolute beating. It is a little slow with 3/5 tracked movement, but carrying twin LB-20X and twin medium pulse lasers, this unit is absolutely devastating once it closes to range 4, and is still reasonably accurate and deadly at range 8. Carrying machine guns mounted on all sides of the tank except the rear, this unit's only real weakness, in my opinion, is the battle value bloat from carrying a ridiculous amount of LBX ammo. If this unit lives to fire all of this ammo, then your enemy is almost certainly already dead. Not convinced with any of my previous offerings? Are you looking for something that costs as much as a direwolf instead? How about the Mars Assault Vehicle? A 100-ton clan behemoth of a tank with incredible firepower at every range. The OG Mars carries 50 armor on the front, 43 on the sides, and 47 on the turret, making this tank an all but impenetrable pillbox once it's inevitably immobilized. Carrying 3 front-mounted LRM-15s as well as a front-mounted LB-10X autocannon, this unit has disgusting long-ranged firepower and an excellent ability to crit seek, which is fantastic because those weapons are following up an ER large laser and Gauss rifle mounted in the turret. Did I mention this unit has Artemis on all of its LRM-15 launchers and an ECM suite to help keep itself from being jammed? Now the XL version increases the speed to 3.5 while dropping a little bit of armor and the machine guns, but this does again bloat the battle value by about 500 points. It carries all the same main weapons and remains an absolutely disgusting threat at every range. The one thing I don't like about the Mars Assault Vehicle is that the Streak SRMs are side mounted. I would prefer to see them placed within the turret. I personally probably would not use either of these vehicles, but if you're looking for a breakthrough unit with great ranged firepower, the Mars is going to probably do that job just as well as any clan assault mech, and often at a cheaper price. Did I miss any excellent clan vehicles? Let me know in the comments. While there, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and share this content with your fellow mech warriors. Thanks for watching everyone, and have a great day.